The movie begins as the screen fills with green, cascading code. The phone rings, and the message called Trans Opt, received shows on the screen. February 19, 1998 13:24 and 18 seconds rec. Log. A table of random green numbers is scanned and individual numbers are selected as Trinity and Cypher, two free individuals, converse. This results in a string of digits that resemble an ordinary phone number and give the impression that a code is being decoded or a call is being tracked. Trinity talks about an unidentified individual. Trinity is teased by Cypher, who says they will have to kill him even though she likes to watch him. Just as the sound of a number being selected warns Trinity that someone might be tracking their call, Trinity responds, Morpheus says he may be the one. She hangs up. In the heart of the city hotel, armed police officers advance along a dimly lit, run-down hallway as their flashlight beam bounces just in front of them. As they enter room 303 and kick down the door, they see a woman facing away from them and dressed in black. It's Trinity. At their direction, she raises her hands from the laptop she's working on. A car pulls up outside the hotel and three immaculately dressed black suit-wearing agents get out. Agent Brown, Agent Jones, and Agent Smith are their names. Lieutenant Smith, the commanding police officer, gets into a fight. Agent Smith warns the policeman that, in order to safeguard the agents, they were specifically instructed to get in touch with them first. This is dismissed by the lieutenant, who claims that he has 2 units taking down one little girl right now and that they can handle one little girl. Retort from Agent Smith, No, Lieutenant. Your soldiers have already passed away. Inside, Trinity uses combat and evasion moves that seem to defy physics to handily overcome the 6 police officers ordered to arrest her. Though she is unsure of how, she calls Morpheus to inform him that the line has been traced. She must make it to another exit, according to Morpheus, who also warns her that agents are pursuing her. Following a furious rooftop pursuit, Trinity and an agent amaze the police officers left behind by seemingly leaping from one building to the next. Trinity daringly jumps through a small window and across an alley. She manages to reach a street-level public phone booth after momentarily losing her pursuers. The phone starts ringing. Agent Smith's garbage truck smashes into the phone booth as she gets closer. Shortly before the truck crashes the booth into a brick wall, Trinity makes a frantic run for the phone. At the front of the truck, the 3 agents get back together. Nothing is missing from the wreckage. She departed, one remarks. The informant is real, the other person says. The second person responds, we know who their next target is. His name is Neo. Thomas Anderson, often known as Neo, is a sallow-looking hacker with thick black hair who is sound asleep in front of his monitor. As he sleeps, notices about a manhunt for a man going by the name of Morpheus appear on his screen. Neo's screen abruptly goes dark, and a string of text messages reads, Wake up, Neo. The Matrix has you. Follow the white rabbit. Then, when he is reading the material, knock, knock, Neo appears at the door of his apartment, 101. Neo offers a group of ravers an illicit disc he had hidden within a copy of Simulacra and Simulation. Neo declines the main raver's invitation to join them until he notices a charming female in the group with a tiny white bunny tattooed on her shoulder. Neo remains distant and alone from the gang he is with while they continue to party at a rave bar. Trinity walks over to him and says hello. Neo knows who she is, a well-known hacker. She broke into the IRS database. She warns him that he is at extreme risk, that they are keeping an eye on him, and that she is aware that he is looking for answers, especially to the most crucial of all, what is the Matrix? Neo's alarm clock beeps continuously above the pulsating music of the bar. It's 9:18 and he's running late for work. Neo's supervisor at Metacortex, a prestigious software corporation located in a foreboding skyscraper, chastises him for believing he is unique and for having a problem with authority. Neo pays attention to the people cleaning the office window even though he listens to his boss. Neo returns to his depressing cubicle and is delivered as Thomas Anderson. He opens the package and discovers a smartphone that starts ringing right away. Morpheus answers the phone, telling Neo that time is running out for them both and that they are coming for him. He must stare slowly up toward the elevator, as instructed by Morpheus. A woman gestures to Neo's cube, and there are the agents Smith, Jones, and Brown, evidently searching for him. Morpheus tries to help Neo leave the building, but when he tells him to climb a scaffold and carry it to the roof, Neo disobeys and lets the agents take him. The agents interrogate Neo in an interrogation chamber. They've been observing him for a while. He is a dual-life persona man going by the names Thomas A. Anderson, a software engineer for a Metacortex, and Neo, a computer hacker who is guilty of virtually every computer crime we have a law for. In exchange for amnesty, Agent Smith begs him to assist them in apprehending Morpheus, a terrorist who is thought to be deadly. Neo points his finger at them and requests his phone call. Mr. Smith queries the purpose of a phone call given his incapacity to talk. Neo discovers that his lips have merged into one. Fearing for his life, the agents toss him onto the interrogation table and insert a shrimp-shaped probe, or bug, through his navel into his stomach. Thinking it was all a bad dream, Neo wakes up startled in his own bed. Morpheus answers his phone when it rings. They've underestimated his importance, he informs Neo, but the connection is tapped. Neo is told by Morpheus that he is the one and to meet him at the bridge above Adams Street. Trinity and 2 other people pick him up there in a car. They are all dressed in black leather and latex. Switch, the woman occupying the front seat, abruptly points a gun at him and orders him to remove his shirt. Trinity tells him he needs to trust her and that it's for their mutual protection. He removes his shirt, and she extracts the probe that Neo thought had been a part of a bad dream using a gadget. Trinity lets the bug fall out onto the road, where the rain causes it to gradually grow darker. Neo is taken to Morpheus by Trinity. Telling Neo that he has spent his entire life looking for him, Morpheus wonders if Neo feels like Alice in Wonderland, falling down the rabbit hole. He informs Neo that they are living in a deceptive reality called the Matrix, which was created by mankind in order to conceal the truth. In actuality, all people on the planet are born into slavery and are therefore slaves. Morpheus extends 2 tablets. A blue tablet is in his left palm. Neo's reaction upon waking up in his bed would be to believe whatever you want to believe. On the other hand, you stay in Wonderland and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes if he swallows the red pill that is in Morpheus's right palm. Neo swallows the red tablet. Neo is informed that the medication he ingested is a part of a tracing program, designed to disrupt his input/output carrier signal so that Morpheus's team can locate him when they strap him into a chair. Neo observes a broken mirror that is placed next to him and magically puts itself back together. As soon as Neo contacts the surface, the silver starts to spread across his skin and consume him while the members of Morpheus' team search the surrounding monitors for something. The silvery liquid completely envelops him, slides down his neck, and causes him to lose consciousness. Inside a pinkish-purple embryonic pod that protrudes from the side of a large column that is a component of a massive power plant, he awakens. He is nude and bald, with thick black tubes penetrating most of the remainder of his body and snaking down his throat and into the back of his skull and spine. He discovers that his pod is open and that tower upon tower of identical pods, all stuffed with bodies, surround him. Abruptly, a terrifying, circling nursing robot grabs his throat. Abruptly, the cable that was placed into the base of his skull comes loose. Neo gets swept down a tube and into a dirty underground pool of water when the remaining tubes break off of his limbs. A hovercraft arrives above him, snatches him, and drags him into its cargo area just as he's about to drown in the muck. Once more, Neo is encircled by Morpheus's crew, although this time they are wearing plain knit clothing. "Welcome to the real world," says Morpheus to Neo just before he passes out. Neo vacillates between states of awareness. "Am I dead?" he says at one point. "Very much so," responds Morpheus. Once more, he awakens, his body like an acupuncture pincushion. He asks, "Why do my eyes hurt?" "You haven't utilized them," Morpheus answers. At last, Neo awakens with his hair in a short shock and is completely clothed. When Morpheus enters the room, he takes out a connector that is embedded deeply in his arm and tries to locate the big socket at the back of his neck. "What is this place?" Neo queries. "The more important question is when," replies Morpheus. "You believe it is the year 1999, when in fact it is closer to the year 2199. Morpheus continues by saying that they are genuinely unsure of the exact time. He gives Neo a tour of his ship, the Nebuchadnezzar, an ancient, battered hovercraft that was built in 2069. They pass a plaque indicating this. Neo is presented to the members of Morpheus's crew, which includes 2 burly brothers named Tank and Dozer, a young, thin man named Mouse, Trinity, Apoc, a man with long, flowing black hair, Switch, and Cypher, who is bald and has a goatee. Morpheus cuts right to the chase. As he leads him to a chair, he says, "You wanted to know about the Matrix." After Neo settles in, Trinity fastens his seatbelt. Neo's skull socket at the back is filled by a lengthy probe. Neo awakens to a completely white world. He is in the loading platform known as the Construct, which is used by Morpheus and his associates to get recently liberated individuals ready for life in the Matrix. Neo's hair has grown in, and the sockets in his arms and neck have disappeared. The residual self-image, the mental projection of your computer-generated self, is what he is experiencing of himself, according to Morpheus, who asks him to sit while he reveals the reality. This, he declares, pointing to a picture of a contemporary metropolis, is the world that you know. He describes reality as existing only as part of a neural, interactive simulation that we call the Matrix. The world as it actually is today, a burned-out wasteland with burned-out buildings, dark dirt, and a cloudy sky, is what Morpheus then presents to Neo. Morpheus continues, stating that artificial intelligence is a singular consciousness that birthed an entire race of machines, and that at some point in the early 21st century all of civilization was united in celebration as we gave birth. Nobody knows who initiated the conflict, but it was clearly man's attempt to block out the sky in an effort to deny the machines the solar power they needed to run. Rather than using humans as a power source, the robots used them, enslaving them much like Neo did before he was set free. The human body produces more energy than a 120-volt battery and over 25 kBTUs in body heat, according to Morpheus' further explanation. In the Neo fields shown in Morpheus, machines cultivate humans by attaching them to their outlets, confining them in their pods, and nourishing them with the digested remnants of other humans. Morpheus claims, the Matrix is a computer-generated dream world designed to keep us under control, to turn us into copper-top batteries, into nothing more than a mere power source. Neo demands to be freed from the construct after strongly dismissing this knowledge. He's back in the hovercraft chair. He struggles to break out from this brutal reality after the team removes the spike from the back of his skull, but ultimately he passes out and throws up on the ground. Morpheus is next to Neo on his bunk when he awakens. "I can't go back, can I?" Neo queries. Morpheus responds, "No, a cardinal law states that a person should not be brought out of their simulacrum beyond a certain age." He apologizes to Neo for breaking this rule, but Morpheus says he had to bring Neo out. A man who had the ability to construct his own world was born into the Matrix at the time of its creation. This man was the one who freed Morpheus and the others. The Oracle foretold that he would reappear in a different form after he passed away, and that the Matrix would be destroyed upon the One's return. Humanity will remain trapped in the Matrix for as long as it does, and freedom from it will never be possible. Morpheus responds, "I think the search is over. That's why I did what I did." Neo starts his workout the following day. He is operated by Tank. Dozer and Tank's brother Tank are 100% genuine, native humans. A true Zion child, born in the real world. According to Tank, Zion is the final human city, located close to the Earth's core and buried deep beneath it for warmth. After restraining Neo in the jack and chair, Tank skips over some initial programming and gives him extensive fighting training, beginning with Jiu-Jitsu. Neo is astounded by the volume of information that floods into him as Tank presses the load button. Tank responds, "I think he likes it. Want some more?" Neo says, "Hell yes." Martial arts skills such as Kempo, Taekwondo, drunken boxing, and Kung Fu are taught to Neo. Neo's capacity for information absorption astounds Tank and Morpheus, but Morpheus wishes to put Neo to the test. Neo and Morpheus are engaged in a combative game. The program follows laws of gravity. However, as with many computer systems, it is possible to break certain rules and bend others. If Neo can hit him, that is Morpheus's command. Neo strikes with impressive force during their battle, but Morpheus simply parries and subdues him. To witness the fight, the rest of the group assembles around the monitors. After kicking Neo onto a beam, Morpheus tells him that his victory is not based on physical prowess or reality. They fight once more. "What are you waiting for?" Morpheus queries him. "You're faster than this." At last, Neo gets close to his teacher's face with a punch. "I know what you're trying to do," Neo tells Morpheus as he pauses. Neo needs to pass through the door, Morpheus informs him, adding that he's merely attempting to demonstrate him the door. The program jump is loaded. Now, in a typical city skyline, both men are standing atop one of several tall buildings. Neo is told by Morpheus to clear his head so he can leap effortlessly yet impossibly from one skyscraper to the next. Fearfully, Neo tries to follow him, but misses the jump and lands on the concrete below. In the Nebuchadnezzar, Neo awakens and finds his mouth full of blood. "I didn't think it was real," he admits. "Your imagination gives it life," Morpheus responds. "So, if you die in the Matrix, you die here?" As Morpheus states, the physical body cannot live without the mind. He highlights the very real risk that the simulation poses. Later, Trinity serves Neo dinner while he is sound asleep. Cypher says outside his room that he never got dinner from Trinity. He queries Trinity as to why Morpheus hasn't yet brought Neo to see the Oracle if, in his opinion, Neo is the one. When he's ready, Trinity says he'll take him. In what looks to be the Matrix, Morpheus and Neo are strolling down a typical city street. According to Morpheus, the Matrix is a system, and the system is out to get them. Everyone living there, including those they are attempting to free, is a component of that system. Some people are unable to be free because they are so inert and reliant on the Matrix. Neo spots a pretty girl wearing a crimson dress. Morpheus asks, "Are you absorbing me?" He asks Neo to give the girl one more glance. Neo turns and points a gun directly at Agent Smith's skull. The simulation, which was designed to resemble the Matrix, is stopped by Morpheus. What are the agents? Neo wonders. Morpheus refers to these as sentient programs, which have the ability to enter and exit any software that is hardwired into their system, taking control of any participant in the Matrix program. Inside the Matrix, explains Morpheus, they are everyone and they are no one. Even though the agents are guarding all the doors, Morpheus and his crew manage to escape and hide from them in order to survive. Since they have all the keys, someone will ultimately have to battle them. However, everyone who has ever defied an agent has met their demise. Nevertheless, Morpheus is positive that the agents will never be as powerful or quick as he is since they exist in a universe governed by rules. "What are you trying to tell me?" says Neo, "that I can dodge bullets?" Morpheus adds, "You won't have to when you're ready." At that moment, Morpheus receives a call. Cypher says, "We've got trouble," through the other line. "Alert," says Nebuchadnezzar. They spot the Search and Destroy Sentinel, a holographic projection of a squiddy, following them. They cut the power and land the ship in a massive sewer system. The sole tool available to man fighting the machines in the actual world is the electromagnetic pulse, EMP, ready switch, which Tank is stationed to operate. The crew notices two squiddies searching for the ship, but they go on. Cypher is working at a computer console streaming green code when Neo startles him. Cypher says he understands Neo's thoughts and extends an offer of a drink. "Why, oh why didn't I take the blue pill?" Neo chuckles, but he feels uneasy. If Neo has been told by Morpheus why he is here, Cypher queries. Neo gives a nod. "What a mind job," Cypher responds, "so you're here to save the world." In the Matrix, Cypher and Agent Smith are now dining at a posh restaurant. "Are they in a bargain?" inquires Agent Smith. As Cypher chops up a succulent steak, he muses about the fact that, although he knows the steak is only a simulation informing his brain that it tastes good, he has learned that, 9 years later, ignorance is bliss. He makes an agreement with the machines so that they will help the agents and reintroduce his body into a power plant and the Matrix. He aspires to be wealthy, successful, and possibly an actor. Smith claims he needs the Zion mainframe's access codes. Cypher claims that he is unable to accomplish that but that he can bring him the one who can, that is, Morpheus. In the meantime, the rest of the crew is struggling to swallow down their oatmeal gruel supper inside the tiny dining room of the genuine Nebuchadnezzar. Mouse ponders the errors that the robots might have made in their attempt to accurately simulate senses, such as the flavor of chicken. They allowed things to taste that way because they had no idea what it tasted like. Announcing that he is taking Neo to see the Oracle, Morpheus ends the meal. The Matrix contains Morpheus, Trinity, Neo, APOC, Switch, Mouse, and Cypher. Cypher puts his cell phone into the trash as they leave a factory. Neo asks Trinity whether she has seen the Oracle when they are driving to the Oracle. Trinity claims to have, but she won't respond when asked specifically what the Oracle told her. Morpheus tells them that the Oracle has been with them from the start of the Resistance. The prophecy of the One, according to which Morpheus would be the one to locate him, was made by her. Neo claims she can assist him in finding the way. He goes into the Oracle's apartment. There are multiple children and a mother figure among the various potentials. A child is playing chess, another is reading Asian literature, and a third child levitates blocks. Spoons are being bent by a balding child. Do not try to bend the spoon, that is not possible, he continues, handing Neo one. Rather, just make an effort to understand the reality, that there is no spoon. When Neo gets called in to see the oracle, he bends the spoon. The oracle is in the kitchen making cookies. Assessing Neo's character, she inquires if he believes he is the one. Neo acknowledges his ignorance and the oracle fails to enlighten him. The oracle asks Neo what's hilarious when he smiles. Neo acknowledges that he was almost persuaded that he was the one by Morpheus. She acknowledges this and foretells that Morpheus will sacrifice himself since he has such a strong belief in Neo. She informs Neo that he will have the ability to decide which of him and Morpheus will pass away. She then extends her hand to give him a cookie, telling him that once he finishes it, he would feel better. Tank in the control room senses something strange as the group makes their way back to their jack point, located many stories above in an old hotel. Neo notices what looks to be the same cat crossing a room twice as he ascends the stairs. He says, "Déjà vu," drawing Morpheus and Trinity's attention. They tell him that déjà vu is a malfunction in the matrix that occurs when the computer's settings are reset. The phone line is severed outside. Mouse rushes to a window that has been sealed off. They are ensnared. Even though Mouse grabs 2 machine guns, the police entering the room are too strong for him. There are bullets all over him. The real Mouse returns to the Nebuchadnezzar, spits blood out of his lips, and perishes on the chair. More agents and police pour into the hotel's basement. Tank is tasked by Morpheus with figuring out the building's layout and where the main damp wall is. When the agents reach the floor they are on, they discover that Cypher has left his coat behind. All they discover is a gap in the bathroom wall. The workers are scaling the damp wall's plumbing in the meantime. Cypher sneezes as the cops get closer, giving them away again. The cops start shooting. Neo and the others in the team start to fire back. Neo is grabbed by the neck by an agent who assumes control of a police officer's body and reaches into the wall. Above Neo within the walls, Morpheus bursts through and lands on the agent, screaming for Trinity to let Neo out of the structure. After a furious struggle, Morpheus falls face down into the tile and Agent Smith wins. Agent Smith dispatches the police squad to assault him with batons inside. At the Nebuchadnezzar, Cypher reappears ahead of Trinity, Neo, Switch, and APOC. Cypher uses an electronic weapon to strike Tank from behind as he tries to rescue the others. When Dozer tries to tackle Cypher, Cypher also electrocutes him. When Trinity tries to phone Tank, Cypher takes the headset off of Tank's smoking remnants and answers. Cypher leans over Trinity's motionless figure in the hovercraft while they converse inside the Matrix. Cypher tells about his dislikes for the actual world, including the cold, the conflict, the goop they had to eat, and Morpheus and his ideologies above all else. "He lied to us, Trinity." APOC passes unconscious in the Matrix after Cypher removes the plug from the back of his head. Following that, Cypher approaches to Switch, and as she cries, "Not like this." In the Matrix, Cypher murders her on the ship. She collapses in front of Neo and Trinity. Moving on to Neo's supine form, Cypher asks, how can he be the one if he's dead? Implying that if Neo is the one, a miracle will keep Cypher from killing him. He keeps pressuring Trinity, asking if she thinks Neo is the one. "Yes," she responds. Cypher responds with a scream. "No," is his response, but his incredulity at seeing Tank alive and wielding the weapon Cypher had used against him comes through. Tank uses the electrical device to fry Cypher. When Tank returns with Trinity, she discovers that Dozer has passed away. Agent Smith, with a tray of torture tools close by, is admiring the attractiveness of the Matrix while staring out at the city that surrounds them. He tells the chair-bound Morpheus that the original Matrix was intended to be a utopia, with everyone's happiness being the main focus. Agent Smith describes the initiative as a disaster, adding that entire crops were lost and that people wouldn't accept it. Smith goes on, "Some thought we didn't have the programming language to explain your ideal world. Nonetheless, I think that sorrow and unhappiness serve as a means by which humans as a species define reality. Your primitive cerebrum was constantly trying to wake you awake from the fantasy of the flawless world. Which explains the redesign of the Matrix." Agent Smith asserts that evolution is occurring and compares humans to dinosaurs. Entering, a second agent reports that something might be wrong, because they now know that Cypher has failed. When Morpheus returns to the hovercraft, his trembling figure reveals the torment the agents in the Matrix are putting him through. Tank understands that they are attempting to gain access to the mainframes of Zion's systems. The captains of each ship are aware of the codes. Tank claims that their only option is to unplug Morpheus, thus ending his life, as a breach in Zion's defenses would entail the eradication of the final remnants of humanity. Once back in the Matrix, the agents consider what to do next. They conclude that the humans still on board the ship will put an end to Morpheus if Cypher is dead. They choose to implement the Sentinels in accordance with their original design. Tank is removing the jack from Morpheus's skull with one hand while placing the other on his head, thus carrying out the final rites for him. Neo stops him just before he can extract it. It dawns on him that the Oracle was correct. He must now decide whether to return to the Matrix in order to save himself or to save Morpheus. Trinity objects to the notion. Since Neo is the one, Morpheus offered himself up so that Neo could be saved. Neo tells the Oracle, "I'm not the one, Trinity," summarizing their conversation in which she declined to tell him if he was the Messiah as predicted. Neo also understands that he must offer himself as a sacrifice since Morpheus was. Tank claims it's suicide. There are agents inside a military facility. Neo claims to just be aware of his ability to free Morpheus. Trinity chooses to accompany him, telling Neo that since she is the ship's highest officer and he would need her assistance. "Tank," she exclaims, "load us up." Agent Smith keeps sharing his thoughts with a tortured Morpheus in the interim. Smith claims that humans are not mammals but rather viruses, the only other species that behaves in this manner, since we spread to new areas, deplete natural resources, and need to migrate in order to survive. Neo and Trinity receive weapons within the construct. Neo, Trinity argues, nobody has ever done anything like this. He answers, "That's why it's going to work." Smith asks the other agents why the serum isn't working since Morpheus hasn't broken yet. One says, "Maybe we're asking the wrong questions." Smith then gives the order for the other agents to leave him and Morpheus alone. After taking off his spectacles and earbud, Smith admits that he despises the Matrix, calling it this zoo, this prison. Smith acknowledges that he needs to escape this reality. Agent Smith shoots the hydraulic line of the helicopter just before he captures Morpheus. Despite being unable to steer the chopper, Trinity manages to fly it near enough to drop Neo and Morpheus off on a rooftop. When the chopper plummets toward a structure, Neo reaches for the safety rope. As the helicopter crashes into a building, generating a strange ripple in the structure's reality, Trinity cuts the safety line that connects Neo to the chopper and jumps on it herself. Tank remarks about the ship, "I knew it, he's the one." Trinity is pulled up to them by Neo. Morpheus approaches the two and asks, "Do you believe it now, Trinity?" When Neo tries to explain that the Oracle gave him the wrong impression, Morpheus responds, "She gave you exactly the information you required to hear." When they call Tank, he informs them of a nearby metro exit. When the agents reach the rooftop, all they discover is the safety line and harness. The other two are happy, but Agent Smith is not. The real world has finished tracing, and the Sentinels have been sent to assault the Nebuchadnezzar. They locate the phone booth on the subway swiftly, and Morpheus leaves the Matrix. A wino observes this happening. Agent Smith uses the wino on the rooftop to track them down and takes control of his body. As the phone rings and Trinity is able to leave, she tells Neo that everything the Oracle had warned her had come true, aside from one thing. Without revealing what it is, she answers the phone as Agent Smith is about to approach. Smith breaks the phone's earpiece, making it difficult for Neo to get out at that point. Neo decides to face Smith, defying Trinity's pleas for him to run as she watches from the ship. Without ever striking one another, they shoot one another in the stomach. After that, they engage in close combat and trade blows. Agent Smith's spectacles break when Neo swats his head. "I'm going to enjoy watching you die, Mr. Anderson," replies Smith. They exchange violent blows, with Smith striking Neo so forcefully that he spits blood all over the ship's chair and matrix. "He's killing him," Trinity remarks. Neo stands back up, straightens, and motions for Smith to resume. Neo strikes out again, blow after devastating blow. Neo is thrown into a wall by Smith, who then strikes him repeatedly with body blows in retaliation. A subway train is approaching, indicated by a wind from the tunnel, so Smith gets an evil idea. He throws Neo into the tracks and descends to the bottom, where he puts him in a headlock and, in the glow of the approaching subway, utters, "You hear that, Mr. Anderson? That is the sound of inevitability. It is the sound of your death. Goodbye, Mr. Anderson." "My name," he responds. Then, with a powerful leap, Neo propels them to the tunnel ceiling, where they fall again and he backflips off the tracks, abandoning Agent Smith to the approaching train. Neo then heads for the stairs, but Smith has already taken another body and appears from the train's doors. 5 Sentinels have arrived to assault Nebuchadnezzar in the meantime, and they are moving quickly. Tank is told to charge the EMP by Morpheus. Trinity informs Morpheus that as long as Neo is inside the Matrix, they are unable to activate the EMP. "I know, Trinity, don't worry," Morpheus assures her. He's going to make it. Returning to the streets of the Matrix, Neo takes a neighboring suit's cell phone. Tank answers his phone, saying, "Mr. Wizard, get me the hell out of here." While agents are appropriating bodies left and right, he dashes across a packed market. They push Neo into a dimly lit alley. He bursts through a door and dashes through an apartment building where more bodies are taken by the agents, one of which is that of a kind little elderly woman who stabs Neo in the face while posing as Agent Smith. Neo dives into a mound of trash while the agents are chasing after him. The Sentinels are here on the Nebuchadnezzar. They start tearing the ship to pieces. Neo returns to the heart of the City Hotel in the Matrix. Tank directs him to the 303 room. He can literally feel the agents on his heels. The ship's hull is breached by the Sentinels. They're within. Trinity begs him to hurry as she stands in the chair close to Neo's body. Neo arrives to room 303 and goes in. Agent Smith fires a single bullet to his belly, killing him instantly. Neo is emptied of Smith's magazine into his body. Dead, Neo drops to the ground. Neo's vital signs completely stop while on the ship. Morpheus responds, "It can't be." Agent Smith gives the others the order to examine Neo. "He has left," one responds. "Goodbye, Mr. Anderson," Smith says. The main structure of the hovercraft is starting to be penetrated by the Sentinel's laser beams. Trinity sways over his lifeless form. "Neo," she declares, "I no longer feel afraid. According to what the Oracle said, I would fall in love and that the man I would love would be the one. As you can see, you are not dead. That's not possible since I adore you. Do you hear me? I cherish you." She gives him a kiss. Neo fills his chair with sudden gasp. Neo snaps his eyes open in the Matrix. "Now get up," dictates to Trinity. Behind them, the agents hear Neo get up, so they start shooting. Neo calmly responds, "No," and raises his hands. In midair, he deflects their bullets. They fall to the ground without incident. Tank wonders, "What's happening?" "He truly is the one," declares Morpheus. Neo can see things for what they truly are, green cascading code, back in the Matrix. Agent Smith is enraged. He attacks Neo as he runs to him. Neo easily parries Smith's attacks before launching a perfectly timed kick that sends Smith hurtling through the air. Then Neo jumps inside Smith's body and takes control of him. Neo remains after Smith's shell bursts in a sea of code, the walls trembling like they did after the helicopter crash. Agents Brown and Jones exchange glances before taking off. Now, every Sentinel aboard the ship is present. They are directly above Morpheus and Trinity. Neo dashes back to the room's ringing phone in the Matrix. All that remains for Morpheus to do is activate the EMP. When he does, the Sentinels fall to the ground motionless. Neo has returned. He gives Trinity a kiss. There is nothing on the screen. A prompt for commands displays, transaction received, call. Rec. Log September 18, 1999 14:32 and 21 seconds subsequently carrier anomaly trace program, running system failure displays as a warning as the number grid emerges once more. Neo's voice is heard over everything, saying, "I know you're out there. I sense you now. I am aware of your fear, that you are terrified of us. You're wary about alteration. I'm not sure what lies ahead. I didn't come here to give you the ending spoiler. I've come to tell you how it will start. I'm going to show these individuals what you don't want them to see when I hang up the phone. I'm going to present them with a world devoid of you. A world without boundaries, without frontiers and without laws. A universe in which anything is feasible. I'll let you decide where we go from there."